Hi, welcome to another episode of the OMNI Podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Michael Fernandez. We are actually in the Glimpse Group headquarter building, 38th Street in Manhattan.
Michael and Sam were kind enough to have me as a guest for the second time in a row on their wonderful podcast, the OMNI Podcast. And we're here in the Glimpse Group, my office. We're a VR and AR company, and we've got something special for you. Come on in. And this is the headquarters. The Glimpse Group is made up of 8 subsidiaries all around the world. We are headquartered in New York. We've got one company situated over here, Sphere XR, which is a conglomerate of 3 AR companies, augmented reality. We got the Foretell Reality team here. We've got the marketing and finance team in the back, and the executives sit. So I'm really pleased to be here with Sam, Michael, and you, the viewer, and we're going to jump into VR and have a great podcast.
Hey everyone, we're in the Foretell Reality platform in one of our office spaces.
With VR, I guess everyone has their own office, don't they?
Kind of. So the developers mainly use Unity and some web development softwares. We've got these powerful computer towers all over the place and many monitors for efficiency. But I want to talk about this poster over here.
This is definitely a treat for you guys.
Cheers. It's a little harder on the desktop. Here, I got you.
So today we have 2 MetaQuest headsets. This is the MetaQuest 2 and this is the MetaQuest Pro, and I'm going to quickly review the differences from the Pro to the Quest 2. So first, right off the bat, you see it's a sleeker design, and it's got 2 pieces here, one in the front and one in the back. This allows you to have a better balance. So Michael here, this is Michael's personal headset. Bought the Elite strap, because he's elite, with the power storage. So you get 4 times as much charge as a regular one.
We're going to show you what I think is the very start of a huge trillion-dollar industry of virtual reality.
Very excited.
Yeah.
A little nauseous.
Stay
too.
tuned.
Hi everyone, welcome to an OMNI Podcast in the MetaVerse. This is really a treat for us. Said tracking loss for a sec. Are we still recording?
Yep, we're good.
All right, we're back. I don't know how many podcasts have been recorded in the MetaVerse. However, this is the second part of our series with Mr. Jordan Gutt of the Glimpse Group, who has kindly given us access to these amazing Oculus Eye, I'm not sure the plural, and we thought it would be a great idea to do a full episode in the MetaVerse, and we will just start here. And I think, Jordan, thanks so much for having us, and this is amazing.
Man, honestly, it's been a treat
Absolutely.
being here and you opening up and, teaching us about the MetaVerse and, what it has to offer. And it's really showing us to be a real limitless, tool to the applications are really endless with this.
Absolutely. And thanks, guys, for having me on the show again. And I think we're here now because in the first session we're talking about MetaQuests. We're in MetaQuest headsets, VR headsets right now, and I think it was only right that I invited the homies into the VR application we have here. This is Foretell Reality, something that I'm in almost every day for my job, which is really great. What do you guys think about this environment?
Well, I'm just completely spellbound because the closest thing I've ever had to this experience, as we were saying earlier, is really a psychedelic experience. It's a whole other plane of reality. It's a whole other plane of consciousness. As someone who hasn't had the experience in VR as much as others, I think this is very novel for me. So it's really a pleasure. I mean, I'm a little bit flabbergasted. I'm sort of lacking words to explain it, but I think through our questions we'll, do a better job with that.
I really think this is what you're gonna look like in about 50 to 60 years.
I think so too. I hope so.
Yeah, so right now we have
I know a really good dreads guy,
We'll talk.
Right now we're using
Like, are you wearing lipstick?
I didn't know how to change my lips are naturally red.
It's okay. Anyway,
So
sorry, Jordan.
So something that you can't miss are these really cool avatars. I aspire to have a nice mustache like this one day. Sam, I'm sure you really want dreads one day. And Michael, this is how you actually look in person.
Sans
I'm
turban.
actually Indian. It's not, so don't give me letters.
Yeah,
Cultural
I'm
appropriation.
culturally appropriating in this outfit.
He's
I'm
more
aware.
culturally, yeah.
I'm aware. I'm a Jew, but I do not look like this. I do not have dreadlocks.
So
Justafarian over here.
what's great is in the metaverse you can look however you want and you'll essentially feel how you look. So I'm really happy with our choices here. But yeah, let's answer some questions.
I think I have a million questions going through my head. However, I think there's a lot of questions. They revolve around what are the implications of using this sort of technology so much? What do you think is lacking as far as human connection? I mean, because I'm a human being who I crave and love the real human connection, soul connection, in the physical world, in our reality that we consider the physical world. Do you think there's any implications to using this? I mean, hours at a time, and I think I'm playing devil's advocate here, but I want to get into the psychological aspect of being in the metaverse so much.
Yeah, so in life you need a balance, and that's the same with your phones, your computer time, and now these VR headsets are essentially computers you wear on your head. But I think I want to draw a distinction of when the pandemic first kicked off, we're all locked up in our homes. And I was still working at the Glimpse Group and working on this platform to make it as great as it is right now. And I remember having this sense of presence in my home with my colleagues and some clients like we're having right now. We're in the Glimpse office right now, but we're also in the metaverse. And if we take these headsets back home with us, we will feel the same sense of presence that we're here outside the dojo by this nice big tree. And that is what VR is really great at. That being said, in life you want balance, and I wouldn't say anytime soon that we would all choose to live this life in the metaverse or virtual reality. But I think it's also a luxury that we all live in New York City and are able to interact with all these great people and have that real life experience. I'd say in life we need a balance, and it's really not as well understood how these devices will impact our lives, but it's true that it will, from work life to social life to entertainment. Things are just going to become more immersive, and I think we'll be spending more time in the headset.
I have a hypothesis, Sam, that I think to answer your question as well.
Yeah, please.
And to add on to what Jordan said, I don't think, as we can see, the technology is pretty amazing, but I don't think the metaverse will be a substitution of reality, but a supplement to it. So, like Jordan was saying about, the human presence just by being in the metaverse, or even being on a Zoom call with a friend or a phone call with a friend that's, thousands of miles away. You can't physically be there with that person, but I think this like the metaverse experience of interacting with a friend who's thousands of miles away or a family member who's thousands of miles away adds a different dimensionality to something
Sure.
that can't be replaced by physical presence.
So I was on a plane coming home a couple days ago, and I was flying back to New York, and I was getting very impatient, and I said to myself, wait, my body is only on this plane, but in theory my consciousness or my soul can be wherever it wants to be if I can get myself to a high enough state through meditation or breathing, whatever it may be. And just talking about the metaverse and sitting here now, and what you just said, Jordan, about how you could take these off, go home, put it back on, we could be in the same exact place with the same characters. Do you think it's in a way... I'm going to continue with these devil advocate questions because I have a lot of... I'm very curious about this. Do you think this is almost can be like a cheat code for people as an escape, as a cathartic escape from their own realities, and is that dangerous?
Oh, absolutely. So, not absolutely on the dangerous part, but in life, there's this thing called escapism. When you watch 3 Netflix shows in a row, that's escapism from your own life. So the only thing that's different when you're in VR is that it's more immersive. When you're on your computer or watching TV, there's really, really great 2D, I want to emphasize 2D storytelling going on, where there's been the last like 50 to 60 years of 2D film directors creating really compelling 2D stories. And now we're just touching the surface on 3D storytelling and immersive storytelling. In a moment or later on today, we're going to go into a 360-degree video, and that's another type of storytelling. But I think there's always going to be escapism. It just depends on what the person is escaping in. It could be a movie. It could be drinking, but just to escape reality, I think we need it, and it's healthy to do it from time to time.
And I'll add on to that point. If the person, because Sam's playing devil's advocate, and people, if someone wants to escape from their life that they're living, they're going to find a way to do it regardless whether the metaverse exists. Adding on to Jordan's point, watching 3 Netflix shows, this tool really, and this is how I see it, it's just another tool like the iPhone, like the internet, even a book. People can escape through books. People dive
Very
through
true.
novels, and I used to do that when I was a kid. I could get lost in a good novel for days. It's people, since the history of, I think, modern civilization, dating back to writing and storytelling, thousands of years, people have, sought for reasons to escape or entertain themselves. And this platform, the metaverse, regardless whether it's using a Meta Head Quest, or if Apple or Microsoft comes out with their own, or have they already come out with their own headsets, it's just going to be a tool that really allows people to use you can either use it for creativity, office networking. What you mentioned about 3D movie making, I didn't even think of that. That's
Brilliant.
That's revolutionary. Yeah, and I think that might, and you can quote me on this. I think that might cause a decentralization of Hollywood. I think, because if you can make a 3D headset, a quality movie at in your laptop, using the metaverse, or I really couldn't even speculate how they would how they would do it, because you just brought up to me today. But yeah, if an expert in the metaverse, and I could see, someone who created this where we are, on a computer here, probably, or somewhere, right? This was created by one person. The dojo we're looking at, the background, the landscape work.
To be honest, there's a lot of people involved in making this seamless experience, but yeah, you're describing it exactly right. Like, someone had to make the ground, someone had to make this social capability, someone has to have the camera rolling and have our voices go up to a server and down into your other headset. But continue, yeah.
Yeah, so exactly. So it seems to me that the need for physical, like, in Hollywood, you have these movie sets and everything has to be physically created and shot in a two-dimensional, and we know, and we all are aware, at least somewhat, of the cinematographic tricks that they use, and this opens up a whole different dimension for people to explore. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, I'm experiencing right now extreme levels of stimulus, and it's almost like I'm very tired currently, but when I put this on, you're so stimulated that any sort of exhaustion or fatigue you're feeling, you don't really, it kind of cuts it out in a way, because your brain, I think, is doing, and I'm not a neurologist here, but your brain is doing so much to process what's going on, and you're so hyper-focused in this world that it almost is a completely different, I don't even know the word for it. I mean, it is conscious. It's just a new rhythm, circadian rhythm. Like, in theory, you could have the sun go down here, right? In this reality.
Yeah, well, there is long-standing research on blue light, which, when you're looking to any screens, the blue light kind of tricks the circadian rhythm, and that's why you shouldn't look at your phone or screens about 1 hour, at least that's what the doctors say. Don't look at your phone 1 hour before bed, because the light from your screen, television, and now this headset would trick your circadian rhythm. But if you're tired, you're going to go to sleep. And I wanted to... Never mind. I honestly, the thought slipped my mind.
Well, you guys are both like spot on this, because VR has been shown to actually be an alternative painkiller to opiates. So people could use VR for pain management. They could go into an beautiful, peaceful experience like this Japanese garden, or go into a 360 immersive video, or focus on something in a VR environment, and actually the VR inundates your brain so much that you don't even feel the chronic pain from whatever illness you might have. So VR has
hyper stimulated by it.
That reminds me. I remember what I was going to say. Sam, I think it's because this is also your first... is this your virgin experience in VR?
No, so I've done VR where it was a game, where it was kind of a roller coaster game, but that feels like you're just playing a game. So you kind of dismiss that as, this is just a 3D video game. And then I've also had the lovely pleasure of trying, I've witnessed 360 VR porn in Barcelona. And that also is kind of like a novelty, because you're like, this is just porn. But I've never actually done VR where you're actually using it in a way that's productive, where you're sitting like we are and having a conversation in a beautiful, virtual reality. So to answer your question, I would say yes. I'm very new to this space.
Yeah, because you had mentioned earlier that you're feeling very stimulated and exhausted by it, and I think that's something you build up a resilience to.
Definitely.
I've had my Quest for almost 2 years now, and I'm adapted. I feel very comfortable using my headset for about an hour and a half at a time, but it does get taxing. That's why, I don't think people are concerned that this is gonna this is it. This is reality. Like, people are gonna choose to exist in the metaverse rather than true reality. And if you look around, not at all. It's a great experience, but I don't think anybody could sit comfortably for long periods of time.
Right.
And with this,
this is what they should be having on airplanes.
3 hours, 8 hours. What kind of?
You should have these on every airplane flight. Maybe just start them in first class in lieu of the shitty little TV screens, and just have these on every flight. And your flight wouldn't feel like a flight anymore. You can even go and see what the plane's seeing. You can make it, like a flight simulator, or you could watch movies. You could play games. You could put that whole program on these Delta VR headsets. Just rebrand them.
I was thinking. I was just thinking that because I have a flight to Colombia next month, and I was thinking about taking my headset, and I would, I wouldn't have to, be on a plane and watch like a 2-inch screen. I could just put this on my head, put my earphones on, and tune the world on. I do think it's going to be like that. I think it's we're witnessing the very beginning of a new industry.
Yeah.
And VR supplementation, and I think it's even going to be that way in movie theaters. Movie theaters are going to incorporate. I don't think we're going to be looking at a big screen, a big
How about museums? Museums, everything. I mean, they were doing this in Paris. Remember in Paris?
Yeah.
In the Musée d'Orangerie, they have this.
Right now, in VR, you can check out the Louvre right now. They have, I showed my grandmother some scenes because if you go on like in the library of high five.
No, schnoz, picking your schnoz. High five.
So I want to actually touch
Jordan,
on something that no, I love all these ideas. You guys are coming up with great ideas, and it's true that VR is going to touch almost everything in the world. But we were talking before earlier, Sam, how people could make a living in the metaverse. But I first want to just say how I think regular reality is might be seen as luxurious in the future. But for those who can't walk into their own spacious apartment, maybe someone could have a virtual metaverse mansion, and after
you're talking the Matrix, baby. 'Cause that's exactly.
You're talking Ready Player One. We'll all be living in stacks of trailers, and you're going to be completely neglecting your reality because you're going to be in this all day long, making your living. And do you have any fears about that?
Well, I think it's still a long ways from that, but it's something that we have to keep in mind when we're building the technology today. And the economy will probably eventually go to have more infrastructure in VR, so there could be a VR tour guide or a VR tester from anywhere in the world and making reasonable money in VR. But we need a life with balance and kind of just be aware of the worst case scenario so we know not to go towards that direction.
I mean, you want to talk? Okay, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, Jordan, we were touching upon this earlier, but can you kind of get into how Glimpse Group's clients are using this platform and the amazing ways they're using it?
Yeah, let's talk about where are
absolutely.
we?
Yeah, where are we right now?
Yeah, so we're in Foretell Reality. This is a platform we've been developing for more than 3 years, and actually I started off as an intern at the Glimpse Group, and my first day I was testing a really early version of this Foretell Reality Group, and I might have talked about it in the first session in the podcast, but essentially a support group setting where people could come in as avatars, either anonymously or just however they're feeling that day, and have a support group and have that sense of feeling and presence in this virtual environment for people who are not feeling well, and they'll use this space to feel like they're with other people and talk about how they're feeling that day. So one use case is a support group setting. We have had virtual events in Foretell Reality. We've had an event with over 50 people with a speaker series. It was actually pretty cool. I can't say who the client was, but essentially they sent out a whole bunch of headsets to more than 100 people, and it was a 3-day event where about 50 people each day came into the event, had a discussion, a panel discussion, and then had time to network with each other. Right. And that was an unbelievable experience for me to help put on, and for the attendees to have a one-of-a-kind virtual experience there. I'll just quickly touch on a couple other use cases. we have a technology where you could stream in a 2D or a 180-degree video. So, for example, we could be looking at a stage and then have a live broadcast or a pre-recorded video of a band playing on a stage. And right now you see CG, computer generated. Like, I could poke and put my hand through my body because it's CG. But imagine having a photorealistic stream of a video coming in.
Your lobes.
That gives you that real sense of presence, like you're watching the video itself. We've had role-playing scenarios. We have a really cool feature where you could record the session and then play it back and see yourself from a 3D point of view. So soft skills training, role-playing, negotiations.
Cool.
Since the Glimpse Group really focuses on enterprise use cases, it's not as much as the games like first-person shooters, but more use cases that actually benefit companies and enterprises, either learning a new skill or having a productive meeting. And the key to create greater adoption and more value for not just the Glimpse Group, but VR in general, is to find use cases that actually provide a return on investment to the people or to the organizations that either create their own training scenario or leverage our existing products to better their own company and finding new and interesting ways to use VR. We know VR is cool,
Awesome.
but we have to figure out the actual meaningful and beneficial use cases so we could be more productive and leverage this great technology that's out there.
Right.
So what are some examples of products that Foretell Reality offers?
Absolutely. So this experience is built on the Foretell platform. So anything that you could think of, we could create a unique custom environment. Like if you have maybe like a real, like Boston University campus. I know it's not quite a campus, it's more of a city school, but maybe the Ann Arbor University of Michigan campus, we could 3D model, and the university could purchase that 3D, we would call it a digital twin environment, and have similar meetings or student club groups in here. Right now, the virtual reality industry is not at a scale where products are readily available. There's not a great enough.
Are people readily are people able to get this on the App Store in the Metaverse as well?
Yeah, so right now, if you have a Meta account, you could type in Foretell Reality Group, and you'll see the Foretell app. You could download it, email me, or email Sam and Michael, and we'll get in contact, and I could give you a personal tour of this environment. But right now, we're figuring out ways to scale our products, because at the end of the day, all companies have to make money, and the VR industry is still in a developing stage where there's not a mass market audience. Like before the iPhone, Facebook was actually started on the desktop. And then when the iPhone came out, it was a new medium for them to take advantage of and gain more users, create more user-generated content. So right now, we're figuring out more and more ways to productize virtual reality and create meaningful experiences that add value to people's lives.
Great.
Jordan, so basically what you're saying, the VR industry is still pretty nascent, right? It's still very,
Yep.
We're still witnessing the birth of an industry. What are some things that you could tell our viewers and myself that would how can we utilize this to its fullest potential? Like, what are some ways,
Yeah.
what are some tips you can give us, or how would you both, I mean, I think that's a pretty broad question because there's so many, really there's so many ways. But what are some money-making ideas for like a young entrepreneur who wants to create a business with his Meta account? What are some ways people are starting to make money with this?
Yeah, so I can't stress this enough. People have learned Illustrator and Photoshop and really great software to create graphic designs for the 2D world. Mm-hmm. But now that everything is becoming more 3D and 360 and virtual and immersive, the number one skill or tool that you should have is 3D modeling. And there's a great software out there called Blender that's free. And there's so many tutorials online.
That's what Marcel uses, I think. Our friend is an artist.
Yeah.
He uses this for digital art.
Yeah.
So people have to shift their mindset from thinking in a 2D world to a 3D world. And to create those tools and experiences, you would need to learn some 3D modeling. So 3D modeling and understanding Unity as a game engine, was all created in Unity. So those two things, gain those two skills, and then just have fun with it. Really, Michael, I know you've had your Quest for a while, and play some games, see what's out there, see what works, see what doesn't work. Some experiences make you sick. But from there, some really main categories that are making money today are training scenarios, marketing scenarios, and then it's kind of broad, but entertainment, from games,
Netflix,
to viewing good storytelling in VR. But yeah, those are some of the main ways to get involved today.
Honestly, I wanted to tell the audience I use my headset actually to study a lot. And I'll watch a course, and just it really removes all distractions. If you're watching a course, you're submerged in the course. You're not looking at your phone. You're just, and I found myself, because I was diagnosed with ADHD at a young age, so I struggled with focus a lot. And the problem with, if you can't focus, you can't do anything in life, right? So let's be honest with that. And getting through like a course, and there are tons of courses online. I just put them on my browser in the MetaVerse. I put it on 30-minute, 40-minute course. I'm tunnel visioned in, literally,
Yeah.
Yeah, no distractions.
No distractions.
Can't even look at your phone. That's why the university clients love it. Students are so much more engaged than on Zoom calls. Today, I don't know if any of you are in college right now, but how often do you have your camera off and you're multitasking? When you're in VR, you can't really do that, which is great for the professors and for the students to be fully present in VR.
So in a way, Sam, VR makes you more present.
Honestly, I've been finding that now. I mean, you're so inundated and you have so much stimulus that's hard not to be present on this moment.
But it's not
in this reality.
It's not stimulus, because if you take off the headset, you're also inundated. So you have so many objects.
True.
Like,
Especially in Manhattan.
Look at the office we're in. You can take your focus and place it anywhere. Here, yes, there's a lot of light stimulation because there's a screen 2 inches in front of your eyes. But you're really focused on the task at hand, and that's the thing, and that's what I really enjoy about the MetaVerse, is
that's a good point.
You can only, it's an infinite. There's an infinitude of things to do and places to be, but where you are 100% there.
I like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like and subscribe for more content.
This has been a treat. Jordan, is there anything else you want to add on before we sign off?
There's actually one more thing.
There's a ton of
There's a lot to talk about. We've got many episodes on this.
Yeah.
First,
the more we learn about it, the more questions we'll ask, because Jordan is really the world's the topmost expert in the metaverse. Sorry,
Thank you.
It really is.
So first I want to thank you all for allowing me to bring you in here and creating this wonderful podcast. Thank you for the viewer for joining us so far. So, well, I went somewhere real quick, but I have one more trick for you all. So right now in this platform, we're able to have different 360-degree experiences. So I just want to end on one of my favorites, and let's have a good time.
Wow.
Shit.
Oh my god.
Come with me, guys.
Is this your company?
This is a partner.
Is this LA?
Yes.
This is Malibu, huh?
Whoa!